If I had to use one word to describe Jon Moxley, that one word would be dedicated. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. Before I get into this video, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the like button and subscribe. So, from an outsider's point of view, it really felt as if when they announced that we were going to get a rematch from the main event of Revolution between Cope and Jon Moxley, this time in a street fight, that it really felt as if these two guys were going to do their best to erase that bad taste that was left in everybody's mouth after that match at Revolution. And to be honest with you guys, I think the reason why that match is getting so much shit is the fact that I think it's pretty well known that AEW produces high level of television when it comes to their pay-per-views. And with that being known, I think the fact that this pay-per-view was really, felt as if it ended poorly with that match. I think that's the main reason why it's getting shitted on so much. Because if we're just talking strictly from a match point of view, I've seen far worse matches than that one. If anybody considers that the worst match they've ever seen, there are somebody who haven't seen Undertaker versus Great Khali or The Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez, because that main event at Revolution compared to those matches are Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in their peak, right? So this was a match that you knew there was going to be some form of grotesque spot when you had Jon Moxley involved in a hardcore stipulation, and he did not disappoint. And before I get into the spot, I think we need to take a second to really give an applause to Jon Moxley. If you guys don't know or didn't pay attention to the broadcast, the show took place in Nebraska. If you guys don't know, Nebraska is under this intense blizzard at the moment. So Jon was not able to book a flight to get into Nebraska. So he drove 11 hours on his own to get to the show. And we saw the moment, right, that everybody's going to be talking about and everybody's going to be split on. We saw a moment in the match where Cope took Spike out. If you don't know Spike, Spike is this wooden block or stick type of thing that had a whole bunch of nails involved in it, right? And he took Spike and hit Mox right in the back with Spike, and the nails got stuck in Mox's back. There was one point where it looked like they were trying to get Spike out of him, but it looked as if they would have tried too hard, they were going to rip the entire flesh out of Jon Moxley's back. Now, when you see moments like that, you're always going to get a 50-50 split. There's going to be 50% of people are going to be like, oh, this is awesome. This is hardcore. I love it. This is what makes AEW great. And then there's going to be another side of it that's going to be like, this is disgusting. This is grotesque. This isn't real wrestling. What a clown show that they're running. Now, for me, when you have hardcore stipulations, right, I think everything's in bounds. They are supposed to be violent. There are supposed to be moments in the match where you want to look away. There's supposed to be moments in the match where you are just looking at the ground or not trying to see what is going on. That is the point. If there was a real life fight or a real life street fight between individuals, there's no rules. There are people that are trying to gouge your eyes out. There are people that are trying to stab you. There are people that are trying to do all these very intense things to you. So for me, there is no limits. Now, AEW's audience is obviously on the more hardcore side. I remember watching the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens non-sanctioned match at Elimination Chamber, which was a very good match, but you didn't see the type of spots that you would see in an AEW match outside of the chair wrapped around with the barbed wire. And there was a lot of people coming out of that match who I talked to that said, I felt uncomfortable watching that. If you felt uncomfortable watching that, you should never watch Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in a lights out match, because you'd be in a fetal position, because that is nothing compared. Those two matches are nothing alike when it comes to the violence level. But like I said, I think it was in bounds. That spot is going to get a lot of people talking, which I think is the point of matches like that. You want to get attention. People are going to be like, oh, it's negative. But any attention is positive, at least in my eyes. And it really feels as if, Mox always gets himself, a lot of attention when it comes to these grotesque spots. If you remember, I think going back to All In, the first one, he had that spot where he had like the chopsticks poking out of his head. and all of that. And he's had other grotesque spots throughout his run in AEW. But for me, he's the ace. Anytime you've had situations come up where somebody's gotten hurt or somebody has gotten themselves in some drama, Mox has always been the guy to step up and come up big for AEW. So he deserves a round of applause for that. He ended up taking the win against Cope. There was a lot of shenanigans involved, multiple run-ins by the Patriarchy and by the Death Riders. You had FTR trying to make the save. You had Willow Nightingale come in and try to neutralize Mina Shafir. But at the end, Mox won, and we are setting up a match between Mox and Swerve at Revolution, where fingers crossed we see Swerve win the AEW World title at at Dynasty for the second year in a row, and we could really kind of put this Death Rider storyline to bed. But what do you guys think, man? What did you think of the spot? Are you a fan of things like that? Do you not like it? Is it too violent for your liking, or do you consider it totally inbounds? Let me know in the comment section, guys. And like I said earlier, please remember to like the video and subscribe. Like the video and subscribe. Like the video and subscribe. I am Kevin Zwicker. I'm out.